So I'm PC Ashley Aspinall from Blackpool. I am an immediate response officer. That entails going to 999 calls, emergency responses, 101, of various different crimes. So what I love about it is every single day it's not the same. So it was the 7th of April 2023. I was in a motor vehicle with a student, barely 4 days into her role. We were sat on Blackpool Promenade, where I think a friend and colleague had shouted up over her way that she was just dealing with quite a rowdy, drunken male outside the pub.
Are you not listening? I was here for something else. Get your hand out, away from my face.
I think we come to a part at some point asking him to leave.
She's going anywhere, it's been disorderly, it's all by officers, not to enter that building. We went to that building and that was subsequent your arrest.
The male was trying to get back in.
I'm trying to prevent a breach of the peace and I'm asking you not to go back in. My colleagues are going to sort out your phone.
He'd completely ignored what we're telling him to do. He'd been quite erratic, quite aggressive, and I think his arrest was necessary at that point for being drunk and disorderly.
I've done nothing wrong. I've done nothing wrong. Your hands now. Do it.
As I've taken hold of him, he's instantly sort of managed to get away from my grip.
Get on the floor.
At this point, he managed to sort of rugby tackle me from the pavement where I was stood straight onto the street. And I think as soon as I've landed on the floor, he's been on top of me. And I just remember at that point lying in what I would only was assuming at that time was some kind of puddle, and I was literally looking up thinking it's just raining, and it was only since literally touching the back of my head from the tip of my finger to all the way in the palm was literally just pink.
How long is bleeding?
I was bleeding heavily from my head.
Ash, you alright?
I just remember thinking I physically can't move, I can't get access to a taser or anything to basically try and help myself and my colleague and even himself. And I think at that point, as I was going sort of unconscious and going in and out of conscious, I managed just to press my emergency button, which alerts all local patrols and officers nearby.
Ash, stay with us. Ash,
Keep squeezing my hand.
I'm basically in serious trouble. I just remember thinking this was it. And that I wouldn't see my daughter again, my family. And I just think, I come to the realisation that this is it.
Stay with me, brother.
But I just remember just hearing voices and sirens and
Stay with me, hold my hand. You alright, mate?
just going in and out of consciousness, and for all I know I was bleeding to death.
It's gonna be okay, man.
I just thought this is it. What am I going to do now, am I going to be able to see my daughter again, my wife again, my family again, who's going to take her to her first day of school?
Ashley, listen to me, brother. Hold my hand.
I was hearing different voices, and then I hear, a friend and colleague's voice that I recognised.
come on, Ash. Get low. Get
Who's a very experienced paramedic, to think that doesn't look good, just blood pouring out my head. Obviously this scared me to thinking, I don't know how bad it is, so am I going to be able to survive it? And all I'm thinking is just, I need to, stay alive, I need to stay awake. I was in hospital for 11 days, and it was the longest 11 days. I was having to be sort of taught how to walk again. I think I lost my taste and smell for weeks and weeks and weeks. Not being able to walk or eat or sleep properly or go to the toilet. And I think the sheer relief of when I had my first scan and I think we can't see a bleed, we don't think there's a fracture, was just that little bit of just relief to think, okay, I'm okay for now, but what's next? affected me for weeks and months after that. You know, because you've had a head injury, to take a driving licence off you, to have that independence taken from you. I wasn't able to drive to my local supermarket. I wasn't able to take my child to nursery. I had doctor's appointments upon doctor's appointments, you know, and I felt really guilty having to ask my friends to take me, you know, and I got to a point where I felt like I was a bit of a burden, which then started to really affect my mental health. And that's when I started to, you know, think sort of intrusive thoughts, to the point where I wasn't able to leave my house, just purely because how much it affected my mental health. Quick moment of bad judgment and poor behaviour affects, you know, not just me, but it's affecting my colleagues. I've had to go through counselling. My colleagues have had to go through counselling. I had plenty of talks and honest conversations with my wife about, is this the job for me anymore? I decided, you know what, no, I've worked so hard, as many people do, to get in something that they want to do for the rest of their lives and they have the passion for, like I do. And I like to think that I don't police differently, but I think I'd be lying if I didn't. I think I'm a lot more aware. And I think that's a good thing. I think that's positive. I think that's made me a better police officer. But at the same time, every time I go to an incident that could be similar, I'm always thinking in the back of my mind, is this going to happen again? Am I going to be in a circumstance where this time I don't make it? We attended court in July 2024. He pleaded guilty to a Section 20, wounding without intent. I really wanted a custodial sentence to be, not just for me, but to show the greater public and my colleagues that if you do that to an emergency service worker, you should receive a custodial sentence. So, in short, he didn't, unfortunately, go to prison. So he received that 24-month suspended sentence, a fine, an alcohol rehabilitation order and community service work. We are a member of the public who are warranted officers who go to work, who put on that uniform, and we go out there and we do the job to keep the public safe. And if it was only for the help from my colleagues in North West Ambulance Service, I generally don't believe I'd be here today. I absolutely love being a response police officer, and I really, really love doing the job that I do. And I think I would be very disappointed if I let something like this affect me to the point where I had to leave the organisation. Because I've got such a great support function, I've got a great family, great colleagues and friends in this, as we say, it's, you know, it's the blue light family. You know, we do really look out and we do look after each other. I think that's really important.